Did you know that Adolf Hitler almost died in 1944? Not from a bullet from an enemy soldier, but from a bomb planted by his own officers? Picture this. It's July 20th, 1944, and Colonel Klaus von Stauffenberg walks into Hitler's secret headquarters carrying a briefcase. Inside that briefcase is a bomb powerful enough to kill everyone in the room. The explosion happens exactly as planned. Smoke fills the air, and for a few precious hours, the conspirators believe Hitler is dead. But here's the shocking part. He survived, and what happened next changed everything. By the summer of 1944, Nazi Germany was losing the war badly. The Russians were pushing German economies back on the Eastern Front. American and British forces had just landed in France on D-Day. German cities were being bombed every single day. Most people today think all German soldiers supported Hitler until the very end, but that's not true at all. Many German military officers were starting to see the truth about what Hitler was really doing. They learned about horrible war crimes happening in Poland and Russia. These weren't just rumors anymore. These were real reports from their own soldiers. The German army, called the Wehrmacht, had officers who still believed in honor and protecting innocent people. They realized Hitler was not just losing the war, he was destroying Germany completely. The most shocking thing was that some of Germany's best generals and colonels started meeting in secret. They whispered about removing Hitler from power. But here's what made this really dangerous. In Nazi Germany, even thinking about betraying Hitler meant instant death. The secret police, called the Gestapo, had spies everywhere. One wrong word to the wrong person meant torture and execution. Yet these brave officers decided the risk was worth taking because they knew millions more people would die if Hitler stayed in power. The leader of this secret group was Colonel Klaus von Stauffenberg, a war hero who had lost his left eye, right hand, and 2 fingers in battle. Many people think disabled soldiers would be weak, but Stauffenberg was actually more determined than ever to stop Hitler. He had 3 young children at home, and he wanted them to grow up in a Germany they could be proud of. Working with Stauffenberg was General Friedrich Olbricht, a smart military planner who figured out the clever way to take over the government. Olbricht discovered something amazing. There was already a secret plan called Operation Valkyrie that was supposed to help the government keep running if something bad happened to Nazi leaders. But Olbricht had a brilliant idea. What if they could use Hitler's own emergency plan against him? The third important leader was Major General Henning von Tresckow, who had been trying to kill Hitler since 1943. Tresckow once put a bomb on Hitler's airplane, but it didn't explode because the weather was too cold. He also tried to get another officer to throw grenades at Hitler during a military parade. Every attempt failed, but Tresckow never gave up because he said someone had to try to save Germany's honor. These men wrote letters to their families, explaining why they had to take this huge risk. Stauffenberg wrote to his wife, "We must act because this man is evil beyond words." They knew they would probably die if they got caught, but they believed saving millions of lives was worth sacrificing their own. Here's the really clever part of their plan. Operation Valkyrie was Hitler's own emergency system designed to keep Nazi Germany running if enemy bombers killed important leaders or if there was a rebellion inside Germany. The plan gave special powers to Wehrmacht generals to take control of cities, arrest dangerous people, and protect the government. But Olbricht secretly rewrote parts of Valkyrie to turn it into a weapon against Hitler himself. The new version said that the SS troops, Hitler's personal army, were planning to betray Germany and make a deal with enemy countries. It ordered regular German army units to arrest all SS leaders immediately and take control of radio stations, telephone centers, and government buildings. The conspirators made fake documents with forged signatures from top Nazi officials. They prepared orders that would be sent to military commanders all across Germany and occupied countries. Once Hitler was dead, they would tell everyone that evil SS leaders had killed the Führer. and tried to surrender to the enemies. The regular German army would have to save the country by arresting these traitors. Most importantly, they planned to cut all telephone and radio communications from Hitler's headquarters. This would give them several hours to spread their false story before anyone could check if it was true. During those crucial hours, they would arrest thousands of Nazi leaders and take control of the entire German government. On July 20th, Stauffenberg traveled to Hitler's secret headquarters in East Prussia, called the Wolf's Lair. He carried a briefcase containing a British-made bomb with enough explosive power to kill everyone in a small building. The bomb used a special timer called a pencil fuse that would explode exactly 10 minutes after being activated. At 12:30 in the afternoon, Stauffenberg went to the bathroom and used pliers to break the pencil fuse, starting the countdown. His heart must have been pounding as he walked back to the meeting room where Hitler was studying military maps with about 20 other officers. The room had thick concrete walls and heavy wooden furniture. Stauffenberg placed his briefcase under the heavy oak table, just 3 feet away where Hitler was standing. He excused himself, saying he needed to make an important phone call. As he left the building, he could hear Hitler's voice discussing battle plans. The Führer had no idea he had less than 10 minutes to live. At exactly 12:42 p.m., the bomb exploded with tremendous force. The blast was so powerful, it blew out all the windows, collapsed part of the roof, and threw burning furniture everywhere. Stauffenberg, now safely outside, saw the explosion and smoke rising from the building. He was absolutely certain that no one inside could have survived such a massive blast. But here's what Stauffenberg didn't know. Just 2 minutes before the bomb went off, another officer moved the heavy briefcase to the other side of the thick oak table leg. This single movement put the solid wood between Hitler and the explosion, acting like a shield. When the bomb exploded, the table leg absorbed most of the blast that should have killed Hitler instantly. 4 people died in that room, but Hitler survived, with just a burned back, damaged eardrums, and singed hair. If the briefcase had stayed in its original position, World War II might have ended in July 1944 instead of May 1945. This tiny detail, moving a briefcase 2 feet, meant millions more people would die in the next 9 months of war. Back in Berlin, the conspirators received Stauffenberg's phone call saying Hitler was dead. They immediately activated Operation Valkyrie and started sending out orders to arrest Nazi leaders. For several hours, the plan actually worked. German army units surrounded government buildings and arrested several high-ranking SS officers. The most amazing part was that many military commanders believed the false story about SS treachery and began following the conspirators' orders. In Paris, the German military commander arrested over 1,200 SS and Gestapo agents. In Vienna, Prague, and other cities, regular army troops took control of key buildings and communication centers. For about 4 hours, it looked like the coup might succeed. The conspirators controlled most communications in Berlin and had loyal troops surrounding important Nazi headquarters. They prepared to announce Germany's surrender and negotiate peace with Allied forces. But then, disaster struck. Around 6:30 p.m., German radio broadcast Hitler's voice, proving he was still alive. The Führer sounded angry, but clearly was not dead. As soon as military commanders heard this broadcast, they realized they had been tricked. The conspirators' fake story about SS treachery suddenly made no sense. Within minutes, loyal Nazi troops surrounded the building where Stauffenberg and his fellow conspirators were hiding. The SS burst in with machine guns and arrested everyone. There was a brief shootout and Stauffenberg was wounded in the shoulder, but he was captured alive. The most heartbreaking part was how quickly everything collapsed. Military commanders who had been arresting SS officers just hours before now switched sides and started hunting down anyone connected to the plot. These same radio stations that had been broadcasting anti-Nazi messages began praising Hitler's miraculous survival. Hitler was absolutely furious about how close the conspirators had come to success. He ordered the most brutal revenge possible. That very night, Stauffenberg and 3 other leaders were shot by firing squad in the courtyard of the War Ministry building. Even while facing the guns, Stauffenberg shouted, "Long live sacred Germany!" But Hitler's revenge didn't stop there. Over the next several months, the Gestapo arrested more than 7,000 people suspected of being connected to the plot. Many were tortured horribly to make them give names of other conspirators. About 200 people were executed, including generals, civilians, and even some who had nothing to do with the assassination attempt. The saddest part was how the Nazis killed these brave people. Some were hanged with piano wire from meat hooks, which took several minutes of horrible suffering. Hitler even had these executions filmed so he could watch them later. The families of the conspirators were also punished. Their children were taken away and their property was stolen.